You already the bomb.com. You're a wife, mom, boss. You already know how to multitask. You already know how to plan. It's a matter of delegating and making sure you put yourself first, putting yourself back on the priority list. Welcome to Journey to Joy Live, a podcast to promote wellness, resilience, and inspire joy. Be empowered to balance your mental, physical, financial, aspirational, and social health while providing mental health awareness and breaking down the stigma of mental illness in the Black community. I'm your host, Dr. If Joy, and I'm here to help you transform life's challenges into opportunities for joy. Let's begin the journey together. Yo, am I seriously the only one that's be jamming to my intro song? I'm telling you, that intro music is boss. That's why I chose it. Anyhow, welcome to episode 110, Mothering While Black, Brilliant, and Burnt Out, a mental health check-in. You may have been looking for raising love, not limits, but there's been a last-minute change. Sometimes we have to have last-minute changes, and we improvise. But hopefully we'll have that subject coming soon. So it is Mothering While Black, Brilliant, and Burnt Out, a mental health check-in. So let's just have a mental health check-in. If you are a mom and you are watching this episode, tell me what kind of mothering stress you have been dealing with. Because, as we know, parenting and mothering is both a joy and a stressor. And I keep bringing up that last year, the Surgeon General wrote an article that's saying that parenting is hazardous to our mental health. It's like goes without saying, but the fact that it had to be written down like, woo, 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 sirens, parenting is hazardous to our mental health. We really have to notice that it can be affecting us both mentally and physically. And it's kind of validating when someone's saying, yeah, here's the evidence why being a parent is so stressful and hazardous to your mental health. Doesn't mean don't be a parent. It just means recognize it. I mean, just like life be life in general, stress comes, trauma comes, failure comes, things that make you feel weak, it's gonna come, it's gonna affect you. But, that's all what I've been talking about on Journey to Joy Live is being intentional about your journey to joy and being intentional about reflecting on yourself, looking internally, recognizing your triggers, recognizing who you are so that you can be able to realize, oh, I need a break. And realizing, are you stressed? Are you burned out? Are you depressed? Is it getting clinical where you're having that social occupational impairment and you're not able to do the things that you're supposed to do? Relationships are affected because of the symptoms you're experiencing. Because you're going to deal with stress from day to day, but it can turn into burnout and then turn into much worse, where it is more clinical issue and where you definitely need to see a mental health professional. So, mothering, my mothers, my moms, how you doing? I released this book, as everyone know, Inspire Joy for the Wife Mom Boss around Mother's Day, balancing it all without losing yourself. I mean, I chose that title. A lot of people might say, well, what do you mean balancing it all without losing it yourself? I mean, didn't you say that I don't need to do it all? Why you say balancing it all? I mean, balancing all the things you have to do. I don't mean all everything. I mean, that's the thing about being a wife, mom, boss is that you feel like you are everything to everyone at all times. And of course, there are times when you need to know how to delegate, when to prioritize the things you have to do. But literally being able to balance all the things you have to do without losing yourself in the process, because that tends to happen. That's where burnout comes. We lose ourselves. We forget, who am I beyond a mom? And I recently had this discussion with my own mom because I'm pretty good at saying, "Look, Imma drop off these kids so I can go do this thing for me," or, "Mama, we going on another trip, my husband and I need you to watch these kids so we can go on this cruise." And, she's amazing. She's a part of my village. She's a part of my ability to be able to have mental health and joy as a mom. But, she'll give those comments like, "Oh, when I was raising you 3, I brought you everywhere with me. I did everything with you." I'm like, "Thank you, mom. Thank you for doing everything with me. But how are you doing now? Who are you beyond being a mom?" And not to call her out, but yeah, dot, dot, dot. So, who are you beyond being a mom? Is it really all about your kids and their sports and what they have to do? Do you feel selfish if you go off and do your own thing, or if you're missing a sports event that your kids are having? I feel like I do good at not being completely selfish with that because, to be honest, in the beginning, our kids weren't really involved in much. So I was already used to doing my own thing. Like, okay, I got to go to my sorority chapter meeting. Okay, I got to do my run. Okay, honey, we going to go on a date. And then it seemed like after the fact, we started getting the kids into sports and things. So I was already having my own thing. So I'm like, well, how can y'all stuff fit into what I'm doing? So that's a way to do it, right? Like, especially if you're in a place where you don't have kids yet, already have your self-care routine together. Already have your marriage self-care routine together or marriage care routine, however you wanna call it. And then when the kids come, it's kinda like, "Y'all gotta fit into my routine already." I know, that's not how it works. 'Cause kids just suck up everything, and it's a sacrifice as a parent, and I once said that being a parent is 100% patience, but 50% sacrifice. You don't have to sacrifice everything, but you have to sacrifice some things. You have to make sure they're fed and they have clothes and roof on their head and, yeah, well-rounded kids. Yeah, so let's put them in this sport and that sport, in this club, and things like that, but not everything. Are you burnt out because of it? And are you burnt out because they happen to have their own minds that they're developing and their own personalities, and they're talking back and being disrespectful? Do you pick your battles? I know that, and I talk about this in my book. Ooh, that's so parenting stress is one of the most common marital stresses in my marriage because there's just a lot of disagreement. There's usually one parent in anybody's marriage that thinks that this is how we should raise them, and then the other parent's like, "Well, this is how we should raise them." I'm more of the chill, let's respect them, let's, pick our battles type of parent, but then my husband's kinda like, "Well, no, what I say goes." And of course, there are times when that is true and that should happen. I shouldn't say true because, like, the other thing isn't false, right? I'm not talking about who's right or wrong or what's true or false, but each spouse comes with their own perspective, how they've been raised, so that can definitely impact how you parent and impact the stress and lead to the marital stress and mothering stress. I mean, that's what we're talking about here, right? If you are single, of course, maybe you don't have to worry about that, but maybe you're worried about when the grandparents or when your mom has the kids and you're just like, "Okay, I told you not to hit my kid," or they say, "Well, you need to raise them this way," and knowing good and well that's not even how they raised you. So that can be a stressor when the grandparents try to weigh in, especially if you bring them around them all the time. So that can be really stressful. So what are you doing? I'm laying out all this stress. What are you doing to deal with the mothering stress? I don't have any comments yet. What's going on? How are you dealing with it? How do I deal with it? Self-care. I prioritize pouring into myself, whether it's in the morning or at night, the beginning of the day before I go through all the stress, or at the end of the night before I go through all the stress of the next day. I get it in. And this book lays out the reason why it's called Inspire Joy for the Wife Mom Boss. Because if you realize in Joino, that lays out the Inspire Joy in the beginning. Inspire stands for integrity for your mental health. N is nurture for your physical health. S is stability for your financial health. P is purpose, your aspirational health, getting back to you, what you want to do in life. The other I is intimacy for social health. And then those are the five crucial health areas. And of course, the R and the E is resilience and empowerment, the two foundations that you need. So the Inspire Joy method is first laid out and then joinal. this beautiful journal. Yes, you can get it on my website, drenjoylife.com or on Amazon. So, Inspire Joy for the Wife, Mom, Boss is using those 5 crucial health areas and the 2 foundational, resilience and empowerment for how to lay out your mental health and wellness as a mom. Integrity, mental health. How are you dealing with your mental health? And the way that's split up is in your thoughts, how you think, transforming your negative thoughts to positive thoughts. And a lot of things start with how we think. And no matter what you're exposed to, how you think and how you reframe your mind can change how you react and experience what you're exposed to. If you're thinking, oh my goodness, this child is getting on my nerves, what they gonna do? They gonna get on your nerves. And I've caught myself because hey, it's an automatic thought. It's really easy for you to quickly say something negative, right? They get on my nerves. I don't like dealing with these kids. Well, I can't wait for them to grow up. It's like, do you really feel that way? And I have to catch myself because they keep saying these kids are gonna grow up quick, and they do. Because when my Google Photos reminds me that this 4-year-old, he's actually behind the camera right now doing very well. He's so quiet. I let him stay in the room with me. Anyway, that this 4-year-old actually used to be this little tiny baby. I'm like, "What? What? That was just yesterday." So I get it when the older moms are telling me, "Hey, watch it. It goes by quickly." So catching that negative thought of I mean, hopefully you're not having these thoughts of, I wish I never had kids," but some people do. Some people do. Yeah. But catching yourself and recognizing that there is beauty. There's a reason why you're a mom. There is beauty in it, and changing them to positive thoughts, because once you continue to think negatively about your role as a parent or as a mom or about your kids, that will just brew into something more. It will make you feel resentful against your spouse or make you feel even more stressed or burnt out and just wonder, why am I even doing this? And then they're going to start to notice when you're stressed out, when you're burnt out, when you're depressed, when you feel like you don't wanna be a mom anymore, they start to notice, and then it affects their mental health. So then now everybody has mental illness, and everybody's stressed out, and everybody's impacted by it. So that's why it starts with you and how you think and reframing your thoughts about parenting and your role. But then also thinking back to, what else am I beyond a mom so that you can feel more fulfilled? So that's just the integrity and the thought shifts of shifting your thoughts from negative to positive. And of course, your emotional regulation, shifting your emotions from negative to positive is extremely important. Yes, yes, yes. I've yelled at my kids. Yes, I know it's happened. We all have done it, right? But, I have been observing myself more and noticing like, okay, let's be more patient. Because when I look back with my mom, I talk about my mom, not really having much time without us, but she was really patient with us. Like, I rarely remember her yelling at us. And yeah, she was always there. And it is important for us to learn how to regulate our emotions when it comes to being a parent and realizing that how we act can impact them and they can absorb the energy that we give off. And then now they're back to that. Because I've noticed that when he screams or gets upset at something or he frustrates me, then I scream. Then he's just like, "Well, you're mad at me. I don't like that you made me mad. You made me sad." Yeah, I'm talking about you. And it just gets worse, right? So I have recognized, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is where my self-care kicks in. Let me close my eyes and take a deep breath. Listen to Hans Zimmer. I mentioned that before. Let me go get on the treadmill real quick. I mean, he's safe. Let me put him in his robe or let me just walk away, go upstairs. But yeah, having that, this is what I do when I get frustrated thing. And sometimes it's just 10 seconds of needing a reset, or a minute, or 5 minutes, or 10 minutes where you just need to reset and realize this is an innocent little kid who literally his brain is not equipped to emotionally regulate on his own. everything is like a trauma reaction to them. You opened up that yogurt and he didn't want you to. That's so traumatic. You tied his shoes and he didn't want you to. That's so traumatic. Like everything's traumatic and he literally needs your help. They need your help to help him emotionally regulate. So then I have to remember that. And so I say, okay, how about I realize that when I regulate my emotions and they see how I can change my emotions from negative to positive emotions. They're actually learning from that. A lot of times when I see patients in clinic, the child has anxiety, the parent has anxiety. And, anxiety, depression, a lot of our mental health disorders can be passed on genetically just by the fact that you're related to that person. But of course, a lot of times we learn just environmentally, right? So if you're watching your parent or that kid is watching you and how you react to certain things, then they're learning. They're like, oh, wait a minute. You just shouted a swear word really loud when you got upset or when you got anxious and stressed. That's what I'm supposed to do, right? And so, yeah, and I think that's what makes mothering so hard or parenting so hard is that you are constantly being watched and these kids are constantly absorbing everything you are doing and recording it and spitting it back out. So it can be difficult where you feel like you have to be perfect, but you do not have to be perfect. And going back to changing your negative thoughts to positive thoughts, sometimes you have an automatic thought of, "I'm not enough," or "I didn't do enough." And that's mine, and I've actually been working on that more. Literally maybe 4 months ago, like, my husband would say something, the kids might say something or imply something, and they don't even say any mean thing, it's just that because my automatic negative thought is, "I'm not enough," that automatically makes me feel horrible, I'm a bad mom, what am I doing? Why am I here? They don't need me. It's like, what? They didn't even say nothing. They just said, hey, why didn't you do the laundry today? I'm going all the way to they don't need me here. What? So recognizing what are your automatic negative thoughts and feeling like you need to be perfect, and not comparing to other parents. Some moms, they're able to deal with their kids and not give them a device. But you know what? Yeah, my kids get devices. And guess what? I don't feel guilty because I know I'm paying for an expensive education for them. And I know that they travel the world and they get education otherwise anyway. So giving them a device for a few hours beyond the limit that a pediatrician and a psychiatrist would recommend. I'm a psychiatrist my own self. Hey, it is what it is. And that's okay to have that it is what it is mentality. Let them. That's the new book out. Well, I don't know if it's new, but it's the book that my husband's reading. Let them. Let them do what they're gonna do. So that's another thing, like, as a mother, just don't compare to what that other mother is doing. You think she's a super mom, but she's not a super mom either. Is she burnt out? Why is she doing so much? Just prioritizing what is best for you and your family is what's important. You giving me a heart. You're so sweet, legend. Thank you. Like I said, I have somebody, a little audience back there. We're still on integrity. I'm going through Inspire. So I said emotion shifts, thought shifts, and gratitude. I'm not, should I even give it away? I talk about it in the book, The Gratitude of Being a Parent. Read the book. I'm not going to give away what I say about gratitude. I mean, the details about what I went through, because I talk about loss, my previous loss that I've had. And, gratitude, I say all the time, it sounds so fluffy. Be grateful. Like, what do you mean be grateful? Well, because it helps. That gratitude, being grateful for what you have is literally trumps you feeling like, "Oh, I need this." Because you are thinking about what is abundant in your life and what you do have versus what's not there. So that is very important. And of course, dealing with the last part of integrity is dealing with your trauma. As a mom, There may be things from your childhood that you are dealing with and facing, and maybe your mom wasn't there, maybe your mom was a single mom and your mom was working a lot, or you just didn't grow up with your mom, you grew up with your dad, you grew up with a single dad, or you grew up with a two-parent household and they were very strict and they were helicopter parents, and you're just dealing with that kind of trauma or lack thereof, or you're dealing with a different type of trauma that has nothing to do with parenting. You're dealing with sexual trauma, or maybe your child is a result of sexual trauma. And so every time you look at the child, it reminds you of that. So, what kind of trauma are you dealing with, mom? When you think about your mom's stress, does that trigger a trauma that you've dealt with? Maybe that child who looks like the person who abused you is yelling at you, and then you're all of a sudden triggered. And then that makes you yell at the child or do something worse to the child or neglect them or something like that. It is so important to realize when trauma is coming up and blinding you through what is actually happening. Sometimes we see life through the lens of the trauma that we have experienced as moms or as individuals in general, and we don't realize that is what's impacting my stress right now. Not the fact that this kid did something wrong. They probably didn't even do nothing wrong. Okay, they didn't take the trash out, but you yelling at them and punishing them and taking away their phone for a week because they didn't take out the trash. What is that reminding you of? Is that reminding you of a prior trauma? Alright, so that's integrity. The I in inspire. The N in inspire is nurture, your physical health. Mama, are you taking care of your physical health? I know you don't have time. That's the excuse. But what are you spending your time doing? Literally, is there a time in your day where you can add some physical health? I never thought that running during lunch was a thing that I could do. Like, running during lunch? What? Like, how is that even possible? Well, since I've been doing intermittent fasting, of course, watching what you eat, healthy eating, that's a part of nurture. That means I eat between 12 and 7 most days. So on days that I eat breakfast, I think, oh, I can do my running or a workout during lunch. So it's kind of like, huh. So once you are equipped and structured in one category, the diet, you can be equipped and structured in that other category. So they go hand in hand. Either way, you can do it during lunch, you can wait till the kids are asleep. I say it all the time that whether the kids are asleep or not, you hi, Leisure, interrupted me. Um, it is possible to get it in some part of the day. And, some people say that you need a break, um, take a day off. Sure, that's fine. Take a day off. Maybe you don't work out physically. Maybe you do yoga. Maybe you do something else. You do a meditation. But I mean, technically, if you work out in the morning on Monday and then at night on Tuesday, that's a 36-hour break. I guess that's my excuse for working out every day because I kind of need it for my meditation, my medication, and therapy. I digress, mom. But what are you doing to help your health physically? Are you getting into your doctor checks? I finally got my mammogram. I did that a few months ago. Woohoo. Did you get that? Because if you're not taking the medication you need to take or getting your exam, getting your follow-up appointments like you need to, every mom tells me, well, I just got to do this for the child first. I got my kids. I got to do this. But if you're not taking care of yourself first, how are you going to be there for them? I know, I know, but you can do it, and once you get used to doing it and it's consistent, then it's kinda like, "Oh, I never thought I could fit this in, and now I did." There is something in the day that you are doing that you can put down lower on the list so that you can be able to prioritize your health in addition to obviously being there for your kids. Because in this case, I'm not saying you're slacking on taking care of your kids in order to take care of yourself, but it's good time management. It, we're moms, we're good at multitasking. Is there a time in the day where you are able to do both. Maybe you are on the bike while reading, or you multitask in some other way. But ideally, you're working out and not doing that at the same time. So that's N. S is stability. Oh, stability, financial health. Yeah, as wife, mom, bosses, we definitely have to make sure our financial health is in order and that we are budgeting for joy and making sure we're doing something for us. So in this case, while we're talking about mothering while black, brilliant, and burnt out, really, I am speaking of how are you gonna budget for joy? Because a lot of times we talk about budgeting and we feel like, and especially if you're trying to get out of debt for whatever reason, we feel like it's delayed gratification and you can't do anything fun because you're trying to get out of debt. Just like you budget that line item for something important, your joy is important too, so you can budget for joy as well. So that is important. And of course, the main thing for today is the P in inspire, and that is purpose. Getting back to you. What is your true purpose? Was your purpose just to be a mom? My mom always jokes, like, if she does something wrong, she'll say, "I'm just a mommy." Like, she always would say that. And I'm like, "But are you just a mommy? You're more than that." Like, when you were younger, before you were a mom or before you had attachments, a husband, and some kids, was there something that you wanted to do for you and you haven't gotten a chance to do that yet? I definitely feel like I reclaimed that, especially a couple years ago, because I feel like I hit a plateau at a certain point where I was just like, "Well, I have my degree, I'm a doctor, I'm living as a psychiatrist, I have a husband, I have kids." I'm just like, "Okay, what else is there? I'm good. Plateau, plateau, plateau." But then after having my last kid, it was like, "Wait a minute, my own business, my own podcast, authoring, speaking." So there was more that I could do. If the sky is the limit, what else can you do? And what are you doing that you don't need to be doing that somebody else can do so that you can do the things that you wish to prioritize so that you are able to prioritize your self-care and are able to be brilliant and not burnt out. So how you doing? Is the news affecting you? I feel like the news definitely affected me this past week. Oh my goodness, this is perfect story to tell since we're talking about mothering. Oh, I've been sensitive. First of all, oh my goodness. So I don't like those serious dramatic movies where people go through like being battered, abused, and traumatized and slavery movies. I don't like any of that. I'm a psychiatrist. I have to protect my mind. I've mentioned that before. That's not surprising. My BFF had me watching The Color Purple. I'm not saying I've never really seen it. I've seen, like, the main episodes, I mean, the main scenes of it, but I just watched the most recent Color Purple. Color It was actually really good. I don't think I've ever seen the end of it, but anyway, it's just so, about the kids and her losing her kids and just trying to, like, "Where are my kids?" And I'm just like, trauma, triggering, and then I was on the plane and I saw a scene. I never seen Ray. I haven't seen it. I know. I don't watch movies like that. And I saw the scene where his brother drowned. Oh gosh, and it was actually during a part of the flight where there was turbulence during the flight, and I was feeling anxious. I was anxious because it was, like, in the news that a Delta flight had all this turbulence and people, like, were thrown from their seats. So, naturally, there's turbulence on my flight, so I was a little anxious. So I was like, "Okay, let me look at something that's calming." So I saw somebody looking at a movie. It was a little boy. I'm like, "Cool. Little boy reminds me of my little boys." And then he falls into the water and drowns. Like, that's just terrible. I was like, "What kind of movie is this showing a kid drown?" Of course, I look it up right away. I'm noticing it's Ray and that his little brother actually drowned in real life. I was just like, "Oh my god, that's terrible." Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there was something else I watched. I don't even know where I was with this. I didn't know where I was going with it. I guess it's just like it's just oh, that's what it was, the political watching the news. Just watching what you put into your mind. 'Cause it can affect your parents, and it affects what you do, affect your mental health, increase your stress, increase your burnout, and it's just important to just, focus on you and your kids and your unit. Sometimes you don't have to watch the news. But anyway, purpose, getting back to you and what you want to be able to fulfill for your life. Is there something beyond being a mom? And I think that's the most important thing when it comes to being burnt out. I mean, all of this is like so easy. It's kind of like, well, duh, but how? How? What are the practical ways to do it? You got to do it. You literally have to plan it and you have to be intentional. You have to write it down the same way you schedule in. You have to go to work and you have a nice routine of when you brush your teeth and when you eat, hopefully, scheduling in when you are going to do your self care. You're already thebomb.com. You're a wife, mom, boss. You already know how to multitask. You already know how to plan. It's a matter of delegating and making sure you put yourself first, putting yourself back on the priority list. The I in Inspire social health. I think we do a good job at that. Social health, wife, mom, bosses, you're already in the community doing some big things, but are you fostering those relationships? Are there some relationships where you need to close off right now so that you can focus on yourself or focus on your family? Resilience and empowerment. Yes, the R and the E of inspire. Feeling empowered to be able to say no because no is a complete sentence. And being able to bounce back from those stressors and from those traumas and from those parenting stressors that you will encounter on a day-to-day basis, because that's what happens. I know, the way I deal with some of the parenting stressors is comedy, and my whole Instagram is just filled with toddler comedy, and it is just hilarious. Like, when I see a whole adult pretending to be a toddler and saying exactly the things that my toddler says, I'm like, "That is hilarious." And it shows that, wait, other parents are going through this too. There's nothing wrong with my toddler, he's just normal. And that's another thing too. E I I'm a child psychiatrist, so I've learned the development, I've learned how they're supposed to act. So for me, it's kinda like expected. I know how they're supposed to act. For my husband, it's a little bit hard because he's just like, "What's wrong with our child? Are you supposed to act like that? There's something wrong with him." I'm like, "No, it's normal." So when you talk to the other parents and notice, like, this is what you're dealing with, no matter the age group, even with teens, certain things, that's just how they act. It's not ADHD, it's just teen boys, that's how they are. Well, some have actual ADHD. Mine doesn't, it's just that's just how he is, right? So when you understand how development goes and how they are based on the age, then it kinda helps you realize, "Okay, this is normal. There's nothing wrong with my kid. How can I adjust to be able to support them in this phase of their life?" And it definitely helps when you feel more educated reading books, laughing at different reels or videos. It definitely helps to talk to other people to realize you're not the only one going through this. I mean, there's so many mom groups. There's Mocha Moms. I just went to a Mocha Moms business event last weekend, which was amazing. Yay, Baltimore. So, yes, mental health check-in. I keep looking to see if there's comments today. No comments. You wanna say hi, why are you in here? So this is the 6th time my husband done came on this podcast. It's the 2nd time he barged in. You might as well. I'm at the end. You proud of me? How proud of you? Aw. How proud of you of me are you? A lot? They can't hear you whispering a lot. All right. Well, thanks for listening. I didn't even mean to go to 33 minutes. I was just like, okay, last minute change. I'm gonna talk for like 10 minutes. I'm over here talking for 30 minutes. Thank you everyone for watching. So think about your health. Being a mom is stressful, but it also can be a joy. But figure out how to put yourself back on the priority list and have self-care for yourself. All right. See you next week. Oh. This has been an Enjoy Life production. If you're in a crisis, don't hesitate. Call, text, or chat 988 for immediate support. Please note, this podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional treatment. If you're looking for therapy or medication management through Enjoy Life, visit www.drenjoylife.com to request a consultation. I'm licensed in 12 states. I accept Aetna in Georgia, Florida, and Virginia. Be sure to grab your copy of the Enjoy Note to help you on your wellness journey. Also, check out Inspired Joy for the wife, mom, boss to help you balance it all without losing yourself. Better yet, get the full Joy bundle for just $45. Remember, Journey to Joy Live is every Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, may you continue to transform stress into joy.